The good old Spyderco military and the good old Benchmade Crooked River. I kind of listed this video as verses, but it's not really that. I think it's mostly a comparison. I love both these knives, so I respect both these knives. Maybe that's what it is. Two of my favorites. So I figured I'd do a video kind of showing their positives. Let's start out with the little specs for the comparison. So the Benchmade Crooked River here on the right side is 9.3 inches overall. Military is 9.5. Both of their blade lengths are listed at 4.0. The handle on the Crooked River is listed at 5.33, and the handle on the military is listed at 5.5. Handle thickness for the Crooked River is 6/10, and where I was getting these measurements, the military did not have a handle thickness listed. It's probably 4/10, I would say, somewhere in that neighborhood. It is thinner, quite by a bit. Blade thickness for the Crooked River is 1200ths, and the blade thickness for the military is 1600ths. And we'll get into that too a little bit. The weight for the Crooked River is 5.4 ounces, and the weight for the military is 4.2 ounces. The price on the Crooked River is $208 and change online, and the price for the military with the satin blade is $178. For the coated blade, such as this one, it's $191. So I think I bought this knife in 2015, and I paid, I think, $174 for it, somewhere in that range. So it's gone up about $20 in the last. That was 5 years ago, though, right? No, 4 years ago. So they kind of go up $5 a year, maybe. I think there are a few years there they didn't go up at all, and then maybe 3 years. Yeah, I don't know. 2 years ago they started going up. Anyway, those are the prices. So this one costs a little bit more. And I think for that extra cost, first of all, this military, as far as I know, you correct me in the comments if you know better, I'll just kind of put a date of 1998. It could have been 1995. I don't know, but I think this knife came out as early as 1998. So that demands a lot of respect in my opinion, because that was 20 years ago plus 21 years ago, and this knife is still relevant in my opinion. Still a great knife compared to everything else that's coming out or has come out in the meantime. It has outlasted, I think, its competitor from Benchmade. I would say its competitor was, at least in my experience, my knife knowledge from the last few years, is the Benchmade 710, which I think came out about the same time as this, and they're both kind of 4-inch bladed, kind of hunting, fishing, tactical knives. It got discontinued a year or two ago, and this one lives on and it's still very popular. And I'm not sure why Benchmade discontinued the 710. I would assume the sales just were not maintaining what they wanted, so they discontinued it. I love it. There's a lot of other people that do love that knife. I think it's a bummer it was discontinued. I have looked. There was a knife from Benchmade in the meantime, the AFCK, I think is what it was. It looked very similar, actually very similar to this. It was kind of like a cross between a 710 in the military is what I would kind of classify it. It kind of had a swoopy handle like that. and it kind of had a blade shape of the 710, but it had a thumb hole, a spider hole, if you will. So maybe that was what the competitor was to this originally. I don't know. But in the end, it was a 710, and it got discontinued. I think that this one, in fact, I'm pretty sure this one actually came out before the 710 was discontinued by about a year. I got this here in 2016, and I think in 16 or 17, the 710 was discontinued. So this kind of, I'm assuming this one in their minds kind of took its place. So that's actually, I really like this knife. It's one of my favorites. I would actually take this over the 710, though I'm kind of a knife collector, kind of. I do kind of collect Benchmades. I already have a 710, so I'm not really after one. But I do like the old liner lock Benchmade striker, so I found one brand new. I bought it online off eBay. Actually, a couple of them. One full size, I think it was the 910 striker, and then a 905 mini striker, liner locks. So point being, you know, Benchmade's kind of like the brand that, if I'm a collector of knives, because I don't use those, I just kind of have them because I like them. So people will collect these too. I mean, you know, there's some old Spydercos that I've seen, what do they call them, like, you know, vintage Spydercos or whatever. Yeah, not so much. They don't really catch my eyes much. Some of them do. Benchmade, though, kind of, their designs kind of more or less speak to me. But as far as these two knives go, I think they both fill the same role. Kind of like, you know, the hunting, fishing, field, tactical knife. The coloring on this one's a little odd, really. I don't really like it. I like the gray. I don't like these orange accents, so I think I'm going to get a custom. And when I do, honestly, I think I'm going to get a coated D2 blade. I'm having a lot of luck with my Griptilian D2. So I think I'm going to go with that. Save $10 off the S30V. It's either that or I'll go with their 20 CV. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking D2. I kind of like the tool steel, so we'll see how that goes. And then these guys, of course, come out in all different kinds of blade steels. So really, when it comes to both of these, kind of the reason why I like them is I like the blade shapes, both of them in their own unique ways. As far as a clip point folding knife, I don't have I should have brought my Buck 110 because I do have it with me. I didn't bring it out here, but because I had already carried like 3 knives and I'm on another hike after a long ride. But anywho, so as far as like a clip point, the Buck 110 and this are awesome in my opinion. The 110 has a hollow grind on its clip point, and they do have like other models, like you can get the 110 in different steels. I'm thinking, and I think they have a drop point version, and they have a clip point version of different steels that you can get. I don't know if they're all hollow ground. This is flat. It's a flat grind with what do they call that? Saber grind. You know, the primary and then a primary flat grind, and then the secondary bevel. Which is, to my knowledge, all of the militaries from day one have all been a full flat, and then a secondary. I think they put, it's like what, 15 or 17 degrees secondary. The secondary on this is very close because all my Benchmades, I just use my sharp maker at the 15 degree, and they all seem to match up pretty quick, pretty right on the dot. Also, another thing I like about these is they're both really good wood carvers. I was going to make a point. Okay, if you have like a cold steel SR1, and we can compare that to these two knives, are great examples. Especially the Spydercos. I think that this one, the point I'm about to make, I think that the Spyderco is actually better than this, but not by much. And I have no scientific way of proving this, and this is all my opinion, my observations. But say you have this stick, and let's just act like it's 90 degrees off of this log here. Now, so you lay it even. To get that thing to bite, you very acute, very low angle, right? To get this thing to bite, to dig in. Same with, just imagine you have a stick in your hand and you're carving on it. Same with this military, very low angle, very acute. Now, an example would be if you had the Cold Steel SR1 with that grind and or with the angle on it. I mean, you'd be like way the hell out here before that thing would bite. So that's kind of one thing I look for in knives. And I don't know if anybody knows that watches this and would like to explain this. Would be awesome. I'm assuming it's just like your primary grind and the thickness behind the edge, maybe. I don't know. My only thing is I brought, this is always with me. Oh yeah, and then like the Mannix 2 that I really like. I didn't bring that on this little mission, but same thing. I think it's a great wood carver. This guy though, you have to bring it all the way a little bit more. And as I understand it, this has a very fine edge on it. It was like, it's like 13 to 15 degrees as I understand it. I have not touched this thing. I haven't bothered, I haven't dicked with it at all. It's still very sharp. I've done a minimal amount of carving with it. It's got a lot of zip ties. There's not a nick on the thing though. I mean, I use it day to day, but I'm not just out here carving wood like these other knives. It's strictly a as needed knife. But my wonder is to get the thing to bite. And I mean, this is just hypothetical here. Okay. You have to bring it out to more of an angle to get this thing to bite. Now, I mean, it feels like it's biting right here, but point being, it's more of an angle, higher of an angle than these two. That was a really long way of trying to explain that situation. So, my point is I wonder why that is. Two, preference-wise, I really like knives like these that really just, they dig right into the wood. They're both very sharp, but also from like day one at the factory edge. I mean, this one I've touched up. Both of them I've just touched up on the Sharpmaker. That's it. I wouldn't even classify them as sharpening. I'll use them, and then I'll get home, I'll bust out Sharpmaker. I just use phone book paper. I just see if it drags. I mean, you can run it over your fingernail and you can feel little nicks, but I'll run it through there. And if there's any catching or whatever, throw on the Sharpmaker, work it out so those are gone. So I wouldn't even say that I'm actually done with the factory. Yeah, I probably am. On that one, I know I am. This one, I think I'm still just touching this one up. I mean, they're good edges. Neither one of these knives, I don't think I've used like cutting cardboard or cutting a whole shitload of rope. They both have cut zip ties and whatnot, but as far as like high abrasion cutting, like cut after cut after cut, like if you work in a warehouse, they haven't done that. So they're still on their factory. I don't know. 15 is what I put on them. So they're really great knives. Both, like if you're looking for a hunting knife, like like a buck 110 folding hunting style knife, I mean, as far as I know, in my opinion, two best options. You also, if you want to pay less, you also have the Cold Steel Voyager, large, or was it a medium, small, whatever. Actually, I don't know if there's a smaller Voyager. I think there's just a large and an extra large. But then the Recon one, I think there's like, a large, extra large, and I think there's like a medium Recon one. And then there's like a micro. It's a little, I have one. They're really cool, but they're like, tiny. So those, and then also with this, you can get the mini Crooked River, which, I mean, it'd be cool, but that's just unnecessary for me personally. I'll just go with the one knife. I mean, I can get away with that. I don't need a same thing that's smaller. But it is still an adequate size. I think they're like 3.5, still a 3.5 inch blade or very close. So probably a perfect size for most of what you're going to use a knife for. I just really like a larger one because it just gives you more of a cut when you are working with wood, or if you are working with game, larger blade. So both very good wood carvers, both top quality. This thing's been out for 20 plus years. So it's not really fair to compare them. The only thing is, like with Spyderco, they do have one. You can look this up. If there's anybody who actually watches this video, you can look it up. It is the Native Chief or Native Big Chief. I just saw it. Should be coming out this year, I think. Really cool looking knife. It's a backlock. I think it was a 4-inch blade backlock. I think they're S30V steel. So, you know, I mean, my point I was trying to get at was that they have the Shaman, or Spyderco has the Shaman, and I mean, that just doesn't appeal to me at all. I wouldn't compare the Shaman to this at all. I'm just getting at is this is like new. This is like a new model, newer, you know, it's like 3 years old or so. These have been around for a long time, so can't really compare. I mean, I wouldn't want to put them head to head or versus. I think they're very great. I mean, I can. Very great knives. This one, you know, might as well have just been invented this year. I mean, it's like, I think it's just something that can't be improved upon, in my opinion, right? They're lightweight, you know, just over 4 ounces, 4-inch blade, super strong, super stout. As it's been pointed out in other videos, like, you know, you can watch the Apostle P's video. Same thing with me is, like, when I got this knife, I don't know if you can see that, but I would say it's a 40% lockup. And that's what he said his was, and that's what this one is. It hasn't changed a bit, and I've had it for, you know, 3 or 4 years. It hasn't been used real hard except for on wood. Hasn't seen a lot of torquing or whatnot, but like this kind of torque, like, you know, positive, lots of positive torque. This thing, same thing. And these guys, the lifespan on these, in my opinion, is like the half-life is what, like 500 million years or something on an axis lock. I think their big weakness is those Omega springs, which I have broken other models. Haven't had any problems with this, or like my any of them. I think the only problem I've really had with them is my axis striker, and I'm not really sure what causes it that night, but they will break. I flicked that one quite a bit, but they will eventually break. But none of my other models really. My Presidio, the Presidio one I have, I know why those break. That's a totally different story. So yeah, real comparable to each other. Handles, comfort-wise, both are really good. I do prefer this one. It's a little bigger. I think you call that radius. It's a little rounder shape. It's a little smoother on the G10. I've used both these extensively. Never developed a blister or anything. However, this one, and I do love tip up, but I think simply because of the width is a little narrower, so the contact points are a little sharper in your hand when you're cutting. And I mean, I haven't developed a blister with anything, but if anything, this one would cause a hot spot over this. Like you're not going to get anything. I mean, this is just, like I was talking with that Mannix the other day. Mannix 2 kind of follow-up review I did. As far as like draw cuts, this thing's absolutely perfect. Like all sorts of, you know, if you're carving on stuff. I mean, it's for tactical use, bomb-proof, and that blade shape. So I think as far as the handle goes, I personally prefer this one, but this is like a really close second. And it's been out for so long, it's like, well, you know, and it's lighter weight, and it, you know, I think that this one, the positive over this is it's lighter weight. This one takes up probably less room in the pocket dimensionally this way, which I think is the most important thing. Like, you put this in your pocket, you have more room for your hand or whatever else you're putting in there. This one, you know, you put it in, you're going to always be dealing with this, and that is not a problem. You know, to me, it's not a problem. I do like the tip up, especially this bigger knife. I don't mind the tip down or tip down. I do like that. It's kind of like This bad dog right here, same thing. You know, and I mean, this is tip up. I got no issues with that. And it kind of, if I just grab it like this, I don't know if that's turned up, but that, you know, this is an Emerson clip, but it's pretty much the same size as regular old Benchmade 3-hole clip. No hot spots for me. Kind of rides between knuckles in your hand. I choke up like this. You got to be kind of careful, but I got no issues doing that. And then even draw cut, I'll choke way the heck up there too. And then, you know, sitting there doing fine work on stuff, I don't know, it's just perfect. And same with this bad boy too. I mean, it's, you know, you got the finger choil, a real actual finger choil, which is fine. Then the thumb ramp is jimped, but then again, you can get way out over it like this. I suppose like that if you want. You know, for this kind of work, I don't really do that a whole lot, I don't think. But you surely can, you know. I don't know. Both really comfortable, both just natural. Sal Glesser, the dad, the big dog, Spyderco, his design. And it's like I have the Enduro, I love that. He came out with that too. The military is definitely his. The paramilitary too. Whatnot, you know, their collaborations with the Sun. Great knife. So I kind of prefer his designs. Crooked River, I don't know. Nobody really claims the designs on these. As far as the S30V compared back and forth, this one I have little spots on here of rust or you know, stains. No big deal. I don't care. That is what it is. I figured they just rub off, but the problem is they're around the thumb stud. You might be able to pick those up. Never any problem with any of the S30V blades that I have from Spyderco. This one's coated. My pair of 3 is not, and I haven't seen any little rust spots on that, so I'm not really sure what was going on with this. It might just be the finish that they put on, but it's kind of a rambling review. I'll review the video, put this back in my pocket, have another cup of coffee, because it's kind of nice to jolt yourself up after a couple workouts. But yeah, got any statements that aren't negative, go ahead and put them in the comment section. Y'all have a good one.